Never save money. Make it grow. This advice came to me from my grandfather, not through words spoken in comfort, but through a life lived in hardship. It is a lesson written in sweat, hunger, regret, and finally wisdom. That is why I share it. In a quiet farming village surrounded by dry fields and dusty roads, there lived an old man whom everyone called Lazy. It was not a name he chose, but one the village slowly gave him. From sunrise to sunset, while others worked the land, he sat under the wide shade of an ancient tree. His chair was broken and old, but he sat in it proudly, leaning back, staring into the distance as if he could see a better future waiting for him there. He talked endlessly. His words were full of plans, hopes, and grand ideas. One day I will open a shop, he would say. One day I will buy land and cows. I will make money without breaking my back in the fields. People laughed at first. They thought he was funny, a dreamer with big thoughts and no action. But as time passed and nothing changed, the laughter faded. In its place came silence, then pity. His wife watched him every day with tired eyes. She worked, cooked, cleaned, and carried the weight of survival on her shoulders. One evening, as the sun sank behind the hills, she said quietly, "Life does not survive on dreams. Life survives on work." He shrugged his shoulders lightly, as if the words had no weight, and replied, "Someday I will find a way." Someday never came. Years passed like slow footsteps. The village grew harder, prices rose, and work became more demanding. One night when the house was dark and the wind whispered through the cracks, his grandson stood before him. The boy was thin, barefoot, and trembling slightly. In a small voice, he asked, "Grandpa, is there bread?" The grandmother opened the cupboard. It was empty. The old man lowered his eyes to the floor. His throat tightened. For the first time, his dreams felt heavy instead of hopeful. Ideas could not be eaten. Plans could not fill a hungry stomach. That night, sleep never came to him. The next morning, with shame burning in his chest, he walked to the fields and asked for work as a day laborer. The work was merciless. The sun burned his skin. His back bent lower with each passing hour. His hands cracked, blistered, and blood. Sweat stung his eyes, and every breath felt heavy. In the middle of the field, he whispered to himself, "This feels like a chain." Every night he returned home exhausted and silent. The grandmother placed simple meals on the table, beans and 2 tortillas, never more. The boy watched him carefully. One evening, the boy hugged him and asked, "What did they give you today, Grandpa?" The old man looked at the few coins in his hand and said, "It is little, but it is something." But the money never stayed. Illness took it, medicine took it, food took it. After everything, only a few lonely coins remained on the table. Week after week, the same thing happened. The roof still leaked, hunger stayed. Life did not improve. One afternoon, while resting near the village store, he overheard men speaking loudly. "The secret is saving," one said. "If you save money, you are safe." Those words entered the old man's heart and refused to leave. That night, he found a large glass jar and hid it under the bed. Every week, after buying only what was absolutely necessary, he dropped a few coins inside. The soft clinking sound filled him with joy. It sounded like hope. One day, the grandson found the jar. "What is this, Grandpa?" he asked. The old man smiled proudly. "Our tomorrow." Saving was painful. He refused to buy new shoes, even when his old ones fell apart. Food portions became smaller. Hunger became quieter but never disappeared. The plates were never full. One day, the grandmother could no longer stay silent. "What good is saving if we remain hungry?" she asked. He did not look up. "Someday, you will understand." Months passed. The jar filled slowly. To the old man, it looked like safety. One morning, they went to the market. He placed the money on the table and said confidently, "I want 3 sacks of corn." The seller counted the money and shook his head. "Prices went up," he said. "This buys 1 sack and a half." The old man froze. "Money loses value," the seller said simply. On the walk home, the jar felt heavier than ever. That night, the old man poured the money onto the table and counted again and again. The number never changed. It never grew. The boy asked softly, "So what is the use of saving?" "Grandpa," the old man had no answer. Days grew darker. His strength faded. Food was still not enough. Sometimes he felt there was no way forward. One morning, sitting on the porch, he watched his neighbors pass by. One carried eggs. Another carried bottles of milk. They walked calmly. They did not look afraid. Suddenly, he remembered the boy's words from long ago. "What if we buy chickens?" This time, he listened. He took the last of the money and bought a few thin chickens. When he released them into the yard, the boy laughed and chased them happily. "Now we have an egg factory!" the boy shouted. At first, they found only 1 or 2 eggs a day. They ate some and sold some. With that money, they bought another chicken. The old man wrote everything in a small notebook. Every egg mattered. Soon, the yard was full of noise. Neighbors came to buy eggs. For the first time, work felt good. One afternoon, holding an egg in his hand, the old man said, "This is worth more than a jar of money. It feeds us, it grows, it does not lose value." The boy hugged him. "So you are not lazy anymore." The old man smiled with wet eyes. "No, my child, I finally learned." The jar stayed forgotten under the bed. When people spoke of saving money, the old man pointed to the chickens and said, "Saving money is like holding water in your hands. It always slips away. Make it work, even if you start small." And that is how the man once called lazy learned the greatest truth of his life. Never save money. Make it grow.